Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, in the last video, I talked about the emotions that expat South Africans feel when they hear about things happening in areas that things are going pear-shaped. And in that video, I talked about this fellow, Eddie, who was my accountant at Barclays Bank Escort. Now, it's incredible how coincidental things can happen. I've just been sent this email by Charles, and it's a link to a newspaper article which talks about a woman being attacked in Scottsville. And I'll get to that article in a second. But the reason I'm talking about this is because my friend Eddie, who's still my friend today, lives in Scottsville. This is in Pietermaritzburg, KwaZulu-Natal. Now, it's quite extraordinary when things like this happen. I mean, there's something fairly magical about it. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about Eddie, because he's an absolutely amazing guy. He's one of the most incredible people I've ever known, and he worked as you know, he worked in the bank with me. And when I left the bank and moved to another job and then to South Africa, Eddie said, "Look, Scott, don't be a fool. Don't leave the bank because you're going to lose all your pension and this, that, and the other." And I said, "No, Eddie, I've got to go," and I left. And only when the internet came back, or the internet started taking off, I was able to recommunicate with Eddie by email. And in 2006, when I was in South Africa, I talked to him about the situation in South Africa, and Eddie said to me, "No, everything's cool, everything is fine." He said, "The only thing that's happened with us is because of BEE, we are now on contract to the bank and no longer work at the bank. And we get sent to different branches to go and fix up the stuff-ups of all the black managers who are running the banks. And, huge loans and things like that, glaring errors with the loan forms, and these white contractors had to go in and fix up the mess." And that was his job. So at that time in 2006, he was quite comfortable with how things were. He didn't mind driving along the roads. Everything was cool. But I got back to Australia, and a week after I got back, Eddie said to me, he said, "Scott," in this email, he said, "you won't believe what happened." He said, "Not 2 days after you came and stayed with us, and, we had that chat," he said, "one of the contractors who was driving through the Midlands was carjacked and killed at a stop street." And I said, "Well, there you go, Eddie. It's happening." And he has obviously now changed his point of view about what he had said before. But let me tell you the story about what happened in Scottsville. Now, remember, Pietermaritzburg is one of the crime capitals of the world. It's number 3 in the world for crime. A woman believed to be in her 30s and her 18-month-old son were hospitalized on the morning of the 30th of May 2019 after they were assaulted in the home in the early hours in Scottsville, KwaZulu-Natal. That's Scottsville is linked to Pietermaritzburg. The mother was also tied up during the attack. Emergency personnel arrived on the scene at 9 a.m., 30th of May 2019, to find the local authorities already in attendance. A woman and her 18-month boy were found inside the residence. Assessment showed that they had sustained minor to moderate injuries. The two were treated for their injuries and thereafter transported to a nearby private hospital for further care. According to the mother, 3 armed men had entered the home in the early hours of the morning. Now, you've got an 18-month-old baby, and they give it a bit of a beat about. I mean, what sort of savages do that? And these guys are walking around the streets where my mate Eddie is. And you can see why us expat South Africans really worry about what's going on. And why, to me, this is my main activity now is to try and alert the world to what is going on in South Africa. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Have a great evening, and don't forget to ring the bell to get the updates.